Let's get more on our top story now. On the final day of voting in Egypt's constitutional referendum, Shadi Hamid is the Director of Research at Brookings Doha Centre. Shadi, always good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, state media saying that some maybe 35% turnout so far. Do you think that Egyptians are ready to move on from the past 6 months, from Morsi's removal and the instability and violence that's followed?
I think there's a general fatigue in Egypt, and that's why you see people turning against the revolution and saying, well, we just want stability, even if that means more and more repression. So I think more and more Egyptians are willing to kind of engage in that bargain, if you will. But I think that any kind of a sense of stability is an illusion. That's what people think that General al-Sisi might offer. But if we look at the last 6 months, Egypt has seen one of the worst spells of violence in its modern history. So, and there's no signs of that dissipating anytime soon. I mean, the basic problem here is that you have a whole chunk of the population, the Muslim Brotherhood and its allies, as well as people who are against the coup, who are totally pushed out of the political process. They have no stake in the existing political system, so they have an incentive to play spoiler. You have to find a way to include all elements of society. That's not happening, so I think Egypt is on track for more and more instability.
Of course, not elements of society are involved in the monitoring of this election process, are they? I mean, any groups that aren't in favour of the new constitution aren't being allowed to monitor them. What about international players? Do you think that they are playing a role in the monitoring of this referendum on the new constitution? Do they have a role to play?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that we're not going to have any way to conclusively determine accurate turnout figures. There aren't enough international monitors. I mean, Egypt's a very large country. There are over 10,000 polling stations, and there are a small number of international monitors. Now, there are thousands of domestic monitors, but most of them are pro-military regime and have a vested interest in a particular outcome, so it's hard to kind of take their observation as objective. So, I think that's, international monitors for that reason are important, but there's also another risk that having international monitors there might grant legitimacy to the process, and the regime might say, well, look, we have these international monitors, they came, they observed, and that shows that we're open to the rest of the world. So I think we have to be very careful here, and that's where international monitors are doing a very difficult dance, and we'll have to see what they actually say at the end of the day, and they're going to have to be very careful with how they phrase their concluding statements.